Hey, thanks for joining me on this video where we're going to talk about the cost of living in Vancouver, Washington in 2021, so stay tuned. If you love learning about what it's like to live in the Pacific Northwest, Washington, and the exact city that I live in, which is Vancouver, make sure you subscribe, like this video, share it with a friend, anyone you know who's looking to relocate here. So move to or move within Washington. I absolutely love talking to people about this area, and I know what it's like relocating and moving here from 1,000 miles away, not knowing anyone. So if I can be that person for you to help you answer any questions, even if it's something really small and silly, I'd be happy to do that. Make sure you reach out to me by call, phone, email, the social medias. Actually, text me right now at 360-818-4438 and I will text you back. This video is a spinoff of a video that I did last week about what it's like living in Washington as a former Californian. So if you haven't seen that video, make sure you go back and check it out, and I will link it over here. Today we're talking about cost of living, and one of the things that I did as a big researcher when it comes to, I love facts and figures and numbers, I started looking at and Googling cost of living in Vancouver, and I would compare what the cost of living was from where I was living at the time, which was Temecula, California. Beautiful, barren desert, wine country, to here, which is basically live in a rainforest. It's a forest, it's green, which means it rains a lot, but today it's kind of sunny. It was raining when we went out on our run earlier today. We got those miles, and we got 4 miles in today, didn't we, love?
That's right.
So we're going to talk about cost of living because I was one of those people who was Googling that information, and after living here now for 3 years, I decided to go back because I wanted to make this video for you. And I was looking at the cost of living and I realized how awfully inaccurate a lot of those websites are. So I wanted to get you real-time costs in 2021. It is, I was about to say January, but it's now February 2021. So I'm gonna give you real world costs of what things are. So let's jump in. So the first thing we're gonna talk about is housing. Well, why? Well, duh. If you don't know, this is Hal Byrd. I'm a realtor here in Southwest Washington, and housing is a big expense. Like, the list of expenses that you have, or the biggest expenses you have, are taxes and then your housing. So it's a big deal, right? Especially if you're moving here, because since it's such a big expense in your budget, it's also a huge variable. This is specific to Vancouver, but there are a lot of cities surrounding Vancouver in Clark County, like Camas and Washougal, Battleground, Ridgefield, that are neighboring cities that can vary slightly, and they definitely have different infrastructures and setups and housing prices. So this information is very specific to the city limits of Vancouver. So first is rentals. When a lot of people are moving here, they may decide to rent first, get a feel of the area before they decide that they want to buy a home. And it works for some people, and for other people, they want to start earning equity right away, and that's cool too. So I'm going to talk about rentals. So these are for apartments. We'll talk 1, 2, 3 bedrooms. So a 1-bedroom apartment, the average price is about $1,200. And I would say that that's pretty accurate. When I was re-pulling these numbers so that they're accurate and in real time for you in 2021, I found a website that's probably deemed a reliable site. And they said that the average rental prices in Vancouver are $900. So if you come across that, it's not true. Those prices are severely outdated. I don't even know if they were accurate when we moved here 3 years ago, and they're certainly not accurate now. So a 1-bedroom apartment typically goes for about $1,200, 2 bedrooms about $1,400, and the 3 bedrooms gonna run you about $1,800. When you're talking about houses, 3 bedrooms and bigger, you're gonna be looking at around $2,000 plus for a single family house to rent. So that's the rental prices. Now, in terms of condos, I pulled the January 2021 information. Condos sold for about $250,000. So if a condo is an option for you that you might later want to turn into a rental, or maybe you just like condo living, there are definitely some options out there for you. Or if you want to hang on to a condo for your later years in life, if you're young, you could buy a condo now, you could rent it out and let someone else be paying that mortgage down so that by the time you retire, you have a residence on a single story that you can live in. Now, let's talk about single family houses. In January 2021, the median sale price of a single family house in Vancouver was $413,000. Most of those sales were 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, and then the second most common sale was a 4-bedroom house. Just to give you an idea of what housing is like. Now, with interest rates currently so low, those mortgage prices tend to be more affordable, which is why we have this big buying frenzy, and we don't have enough inventory right now today. That is liable to change a week from now, a couple weeks from now, and definitely going into the spring, so something to keep in mind. But inventory overall, it's for the past year and really since the pandemic has been very low, which is creating a seller's market. So even though it's a seller's market, it can still be a good time to buy because the interest rates are so low. Something to keep in mind. Next, let's talk about health. So under health, we have doctors, optometrists, veterinarians for your furry family, am I right? Yeah. So the average doctor, dentist, and optometrist visit, according to one of those cost of living sites that I Googled, said it was about $100 per visit for all of those. And I'm rounding, maybe it was like 108.51, okay? We're going with round numbers here. About $100. I would say that that is fairly accurate. The doctor's visits is really hard to nail down because I don't know if they're saying that that's the average price of the visit without insurance, with insurance, and then what kind of insurance do you have. It's just the way our healthcare system works right now, and it's really hard to pin down a number because that's going to be very unique to you. I will say that the cost of living said that healthcare is slightly more expensive here than the national average. But if you're coming from a high cost of living place like California, like I talked about in my last video, then you'll probably experience lower cost comparatively if you're coming from a high cost of living area. Optometrist visits, obviously I wear glasses, so I would say that $100 is a very accurate price for an optometrist visit. And then veterinary visits, on average, they say range about $60. Now, if you're watching this video and you currently live in Vancouver, I would love to know what you're paying for your average veterinary checkup visit. Don't have any pets right now, so I don't have the most accurate, up-to-date information on that. But if you live here, help me out in the comments and let me know what you pay for your vet visits. Next up, we have groceries. Now, I'm a big foodie, so groceries and cooking, I love cooking, is very important to me. I'm a vegetarian, so I can only give you the perspective of things that I eat and prepare for my household. I don't know what the cost of a steak is. I don't even know the difference between different kinds of steak. So the cost of a dozen eggs obviously ranges from week to week, but it's about $1.30. To give you an idea, sometimes I see them on sale for 99 cents. If you're talking, you know, the store brand, 1 dozen white eggs. Milk. I don't drink cow's milk, but a gallon of milk costs about $2.50, and a half gallon of almond milk costs about $3. And then bread. Now, bread is a wide range because we could be talking about Wonder Bread, we can be talking about health bread like Ezekiel or Dave's Killer bread, to artisan baked breads. So I'm gonna give you a little bit of a range. So the lowest loaf of bread price that I found at the local grocery store that we shop at, which is Fred Meyer, which I would say is like a mid-level in terms of price. It's not the cheapest grocery store in town. It's also not the most expensive, and it's owned by Kroger. So if you, Ralph's, Kroger, Fred Meyer, all owned by the same company. So their store brand bread was $1.39. Dave's Killer bread's about $6, and I would say the average loaf of bread is gonna cost you $2 to $3. And while we're on the subject of food, let's talk a little bit about restaurants and eating out. I told you guys I was a foodie, so I love going out to eat. If you want to grab a pizza, like a thin crust, Italian, kind of Neapolitan style pizza, there's a place on Mill Plain, which is just down the street from the hospital. We actually ran by it today. So Rally Pizza, which is not like a full-size pizza to feed a whole family. They're kind of like those medium individual style pizzas. Those are running about $15 to $18. And then a more traditional family pizza place is going to run you $23 for a large cheese pizza, just to give you an idea of what it costs to eat out. If you want to go to a Chinese restaurant, those entrees are typically going to be about $9 an entree. So was definitely a reduction in price for me, especially formerly living in LA. My husband Jarrett is always joking because when he first came to LA and we got together, we went out to my favorite pizza place in LA. And dear, how much did we spend? It's like a $50 pizza date.
50 bucks.
It was like a $50 pizza date, and he was...
I almost went back down to Atlanta.
If you can't hear me, he said he almost flew back to Atlanta. So the prices in LA are very different. So you can go out and have pizza for about 20 bucks to get a large cheese pizza. Not a bad price. Now let's talk about utilities in your house. So you have electric, gas, water. The average electric bill in the research that I found is about $80. We pay about $50 a month for electric, and it's just the two of us, so that's probably why ours is lower, and we're pretty conservative in our use of our utilities. The average water bill is also around $80 to $90, and then for internet and cable, you can expect to spend $50 to $60 a month. So very reasonable prices in the utility category. Now for transportation, some people might wonder, well, there's a river, obviously if you've looked at a map, there's a big river dividing Oregon and Washington. If I need to commute into Portland to work, do I have to pay any tolls? And the answer is no. When you're coming from Vancouver, both the I-5 bridge and the 205 bridge don't have any tolls. When you go out to the gorge, Bridge of the Gods has a toll, I think it's like $2, and then if you want to go from White Salmon to Hood River, that's also like a $2 toll. It varies depending on the vehicle, but not expensive. Not like back east where you can easily spend $30 in tolls going from one state to another. And then for entertainment, if you're wondering what to do, there are so many free events that you can take advantage of. There's typically, in a non-COVID world, there was movies in the park and concerts in the park in downtown Vancouver at Esther Short Park. There's plenty of free events. You can go to the Portland Rose Garden. We went to an outdoor concert there, which was just an absolute blast. And obviously due to levels of tourism and weather, those typically happen in the summer. So there's a lot of free events you can take advantage of, hiking, just all the outdoor activities, and the fact that both Vancouver and Portland and the surrounding cities are putting on a lot of outdoor events. There's a lot of free things that you can go to. If you want to go out and have a drink, those have always been pretty affordable, maybe $5 or $6 to go out and get a beer at a local bar. Cocktails, but I want to say those are $8 to $10 depending. If you want a really great happy hour, Amaro's has the best draft cocktails and a fabulous late night happy hour in downtown Vancouver, and they also have a location in Hazeldale. It's one of my favorite places just to go out if we're, gonna have a drink with friends. And petrol prices, petrol, gas. The cost at Costco yesterday was $2.37 for a gallon of gas, which can be useful information because 40% of the 500,000 people that live in Clark County, well, the workforce, 40% of Clark County residents commute to Portland. So traffic on the bridges does get pretty bad during rush hour. And it's really sweet if you can work out a work from home situation or if you can find employment in Washington. It's gonna benefit you from a tax standpoint and from obviously less commuting times. I like, personally, my favorite commute being from bed to the office. That's the best commute. And then the last metric that I want to touch on is minimum wage, which just went up in January to $13.69 an hour. So that's the minimum wage in Washington. We have one of the highest in the nation. So whether you are the richest man in the world, i.e. Jeff Bezos, who happens to live in Washington state, or if you earn minimum wage, Washington is one of the best places that you can live. And no income tax, so that $13.69, you're not losing a big chunk of it to the state. Federal government still takes money, but you know what they say, death and taxes, right? So that's what the real-time cost of living is in Vancouver, Washington in 2021. If you have any questions about any specific items that I didn't mention, make sure to ask in the comments below and I'll be sure to get back to you and let you know if I happen to come across anything. Maybe you want to know the price of flank steak. I don't know. Whatever you can come up with, like I said, happy to help you with any of your questions about relocation or living in Vancouver, Washington. And if you know anyone looking to move to or within Southwest Washington and the Pacific Northwest, don't hesitate to reach out to me. Even if they're not moving directly to the area that I service, reach out. I can put you in touch with my network of amazing real estate agents all over this country. And I'm happy to make sure that you find the right place for you. And maybe that's finding your home with Hal, or maybe it's Northern Washington State or Portland or Idaho, who knows? Either way, thanks for joining me on this video. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe and catch me on the next video. Bye for now.